This is one of those moments where I cannot figure out if I'm crazy or everyone else is crazy. Nintendo, they literally made me sick. I have a stomach flu. It's getting better. There was no video yesterday because I felt terrible. But now I can say that Nintendo and their lack of a Switch 2 reveal made me sick to my stomach. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Let's be honest, this is going to be a rant video. Sorry for no video yesterday covering the breaking news, but we'll cover it today. I just felt the worst I've felt all year. Coincidentally, that tied into the worst week of the year if you're a Nintendo Switch 2 hopeful, because Nintendo has announced everything but the Switch, and I just don't get it, because I see a lot of enthusiasm and excitement around this, and I can't decide if I'm crazy or everyone's crazy. Let's recap what Nintendo has announced recently instead of Switch 2. First, it was Alarmo, a really overpriced alarm clock that has some nifty Nintendo gags and features. Then they announced Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, a 10-year-old game coming back to Nintendo Switch in 2025 in a definitive form. Last night, they came through with their craziest announcement yet, and no, it wasn't the Switch 2 again. It was Nintendo Music. Ravi Drums is beating down from E3s of yesteryear saying, "I gotcha." And Nintendo did get us, because instead of updating with something awesome based on Piero's teases and Nate Drake's teases, we get an old game, we get an alarm clock, and we get a music player as if there's no such thing as Spotify, Apple Music, MP3 downloads, or phones. This music app can be put on your Switch or on your phone, and it does have Nintendo tunes. I don't get it. I can find every Nintendo song that I want on YouTube instantaneously on my phone, on my computer. I don't care to listen to music on my Switch. I can't see a world where this is useful or beneficial or important. It's a feature that Nintendo is adding to Switch Online to continue to bolster what that service can provide. But instead of adding GameCube or a new piece of free DLC, they're adding the Nintendo Music app, which to me holds no value in my play style or life. Again, am I crazy or is everyone else crazy? Because I see a lot of people pumped about having all their Nintendo songs in one place, even though they don't tell you who wrote the song, which I think is pretty disrespectful to the people that made this magical music that many are enjoying years and years down the road. They have an alarm clock that I guess sold out, but how many did they actually make? And it seems like it's way too expensive. Me, as a humongous Nintendo fan, a lifelong Nintendo faithful, I didn't even think it was worth the money. And then they announced Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which, yay for Xenoblade fans, but that franchise has never been a crazy seller. It seems pretty niche in consideration of other franchises Nintendo does have. And it's a remaster, which means it's a game that already exists and you can go play right now. I feel crazy that all of these things seem dumb to me, and yet they seem exciting to many others. But maybe this is why Nintendo doesn't feel the need to announce the Switch 2. And it does make me worry that Nintendo might actually push the Switch 2 further than I ever thought possible for them to push it. Obviously, you can't grab a Switch 2 pre-order this week, but you could grab a Lexar Play card, which is the very best top-tier Nintendo Switch memory card on the market, with improved, faster speeds for both reading and writing, and up to 1 terabyte in size. This is no spook. This is the treat that your Switch has been dreaming of. It'll allow you to store all of your eShop titles and anything you download going forward with so much memory. I freaking love this card, and every time you click the link in the description down below, it helps support the channel, and you can grab a Lexar Play card for yourself and your Switch, or get it as a holiday gift for someone you love. It seemed like Nintendo needed to operate on a timeline that fell in line with how I felt about video games, but maybe there's enough people that feel a completely different way, which is they can be placated by a Wii U game coming back, music that they could have got somewhere else coming to their Nintendo Switch, and an alarm clock that is a nifty new addition to the Nintendo carousel of products, but really doesn't do anything for the game-playing Nintendo fan. It's very odd that Nintendo is announcing all of this without a direct, and it gives me some disgusting devil on my shoulder hope that maybe Nintendo still does have some presentation planned or some Switch 2 reveal planned, because why else wasn't this all part jumbled together into a direct. They have a new game. They could have shown off new trailers. They've got a Switch Online update. They've actually released quite a few NSO games as of late. They could have probably combed all of this together and said, here's a hairball of a half direct. Why is Nintendo still behaving a bit weird? Are they just weird now? Is Nintendo at a point where they're so successful, their weirdness from before that seemed quirky and kind of cute is now just an excuse to elongate all of their cycles? I really have to take this into consideration when I look at the fact that there is no sign of the Switch 2 on the horizon, nor is there any sign of major marketing for the next big game. Nintendo is in full-on coast mode, and they don't seem to care. They have not had a full real direct since June, and they don't seem to care. And frankly, it feels like sales and overall vibes don't seem to care either. People are plenty happy with the holiday lineup, which I agree is pretty good. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, Mario and Luigi Brothership, and a lot of fans seem really happy with their recent announcements. It does seem to tap into the hardcore that would typically probably be those pushing aggressively for a Switch 2. It also might mean that Nintendo just does not care about consumer feedback or public point of view because they're making money hand over fist, and in the grand scheme of things, the average player who's not tapped into the Twitterverse or the Famaboards verse or the Discord verse or the Rumor Leak verse, they just think, oh, Nintendo's making more Mario, more Zelda. They've got some quirky new products and some Switch Online updates. This is great, and everything is according to schedule. We know that it's not the case. We know that Switch 2 probably should have been out by now. We know that Switch 2 has been delayed internally multiple times, and we still have no clue what is going on. Everyone assumes that if Switch 2 is not revealed this week, that it surely will be revealed in January, and then will still come out mid-year. I'm at a point where I don't know anymore. I think there's just as much likelihood that Switch 2 could be revealed in November, as it could be in January, as it could be on Mario Day, March 10th, 2025. It feels like Nintendo does not care because they're able to produce the results that their company wants regardless of what they actually put out. And I'm not saying we should be upset about Nintendo Music or Xenoblade Chronicles X or Alarmo. I don't even know if a massive negative response would push Nintendo in one direction or another. But what I am saying is it feels so surreal that in a week and a time where we expected a direct, a Switch 2 reveal, something to give us a big glimpse into the future of what Nintendo has planned for 2025 after a year where, yeah, they had some nifty games, but it did feel like they were kind of in slow down coast mode. Nobody is really batting an eye. What I see on my feed are people excited to have the temple music from Ocarina of Time on their phone, or people that can't wait to complete the Xenoblade quadrilogy on their Switch. I feel crazy because none of these matter to me. And maybe I'm just not the right audience. Maybe I'm not the right fan base. Maybe they're targeting a age or a demographic or a type of player that I'm just not. And that's totally fine. There's tons of different types of players out there for the Switch and frankly for every system. But it is bizarro that Nintendo can operate so completely, absolutely opposite of how it seems logical to operate and still get good feedback and still get positive vibes. I would have thought there would have been more uproar, but it seems like that's not necessary. And it does feel like this is sort of a changing of the guard, and it's been going on for years now, in the way that Fortnite can be an evergreen game that exists and people would rather dump money into skins there than buy a new IP, in the way that many games as services succeed even though the review scores are very low. It feels like games are at a place and a point where the logical and maybe the merit-based economy is not really where financial success is found. If you can appeal to the audience that is currently the most popular and currently the ones most willing to pay, you can be successful, even if it doesn't fall in line with what has worked before or what some hardcore fans or some die-hard lifelong fans like myself think would be best or good. Nintendo is proving they don't need directs. They don't need big games in the future. They're proving they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and still be winning. And I think that's very dangerous, and I think if Nintendo realizes that and is acting on it, it's a scary time. Nintendo could skip a September Direct as they've done, and skip a February Direct as they could. Frankly, they could get rid of Directs altogether, make Twitter announcements, and just keep their release calendar close to the chest. I think that'd be a huge mistake, and it would be frustrating, but I don't know that it would affect their bottom dollar. And at the end of the day, we know that's what they care most about. We are in a strange period of Nintendo history, my friends, where they're behaving bizarrely, and it seemed like it was for a big reason, but maybe they're behaving bizarrely because they know it will still work, and they actually don't have to put in the effort or put in the energy to make things the way that I thought and they thought they had to be. Maybe they can just be like this, and everything will be fine. Will we get a Switch 2 reveal this year, or in January, or at this point could it be down the road? And do you think Nintendo is changing, not because there's some secret big reveal on the horizon, but because this is just going to be the Nintendo that we get going forward? I legitimately fear that, because this is bizarre. And Nintendo music, in my opinion, is completely useless. But that's the big reveal for today. Maybe there'll be more. Maybe this all will lead to Switch 2 and I'll say, oh, Nintendo, you got us. All of these goofy announcements just led to the big one, and you were just trying to build the enthusiasm and rise up the steps to Nintendo fan glory. But more likely than not, tomorrow is November 1st, and as we've been saying for a long time, if we get to November and we don't have a Switch 2 reveal, probably not getting a Switch 2 reveal in 2024. What a strange series of events. Nintendo and their plans making me sick to my stomach. How do you feel about it, though? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. Have a fun and safe Halloween. SwitchForce out.